My name is Samuel Crittenden. My Korean name, which I picked out for myself, is Jiho Park. As you might have guessed, I'm a Korean American, and I'd like to share the story of my first time traveling to Korea at 18. It was during the summertime after I took a gap year out of high school, and I was beyond nervous. I was eager to meet my Korean grandparents, and it felt as though my whole life had been leading up to this point, and I felt unprepared. I'd been adopted soon after birth by two loving parents who have since remained happily married for over 30 years now. As much love and guidance as they gave me and my sister, who was also adopted, there wasn't much they could do to connect me to my Korean heritage. They were both full Caucasian, mixtures of Irish and German and much more. Growing up, I was aware that I was adopted, and its side effects became most clear when another girl in school, the only other Korean American I've ever met in Las Vegas, mocked me for not being Korean enough. She had been raised by a Korean mother, and so her connection with her heritage was strong. It was then that I wanted nothing more than to travel to Korea and experience it for myself. At the ripe age of 17, I finally came into contact with my biological parents and my Korean mother. A direction was added to my movement towards Korea, taking the vague routes and giving it coordinates. I now knew that I wanted to connect with my distant Korean relatives, and so I saved up all the money a teenager has the patience to save, and flew out to the southern peninsula.
Southwest 4073, turn it off of 5, cross runway 25 right, ground point 1, traffic holding in position. Right, Alpha 5, clear travel, 25 right, 21 on left, Southwest 4071.
When I got there, I was amazed. All of the brochures that I had read had told me that it would be scary, difficult, or overwhelming. What it really felt like was a second home. As unfamiliar as the nation was to me, I felt a sense of belonging that I'd been missing. And then, it came time to meet my grandparents. A past that reached before my time now haunted the present day. Things outside of my control marked me as the pivotal piece of a political gridlock within the family, and I had no sense of the family that had spent years waging war over me. Torn between the warm embrace of my biological mother and the patriarchal demand for respect from a ruler I had not known, I found myself trapped. I spent 3 weeks in Korea, in Seoul. I explored the land, enjoyed the various cultural experiences, and I poured through the many historical museums and bookstores to collect pieces of the heritage that I had missed all my life. But I could not relinquish my autonomy to a nameless tyrant, which is perhaps the ironic truth of aging Korean traditions. I refused his request of me to shun my natural mother, and to this day I have not seen his face or heard from him again. This story will not end on such a bleak note, however, as in his stubbornness, my grandmother took her freedom and came to meet me on my own terms. At long last, I felt as though I had completed a never-ending puzzle. That final piece had finally found its place. Together we sat and we talked. We talked about family, of her relationship with her husband, of her hands being some of the first to hold me as a baby. The talking puttered on as the daylight grew thin, occasionally turning into laughter, but always coming down to a calm, happy conversation. She finally decided that it was time to go home when the rain and lightning began to brew. She hugged me as she left the coffee shop where we had met hours before. I could tell that she didn't want to let go after waiting so long to hold me again. I could hear a quiet whisper in my ears the moment lingered. I love you. As a smile broke across my face, she scampered away out of the shop and hurried home to reconvene with my grandfather. I thought about our conversation on the plane ride home. In just a few hours, we had struck abundant life into a void that had 18 years to develop. And now, at 20, I'm hoping it's not too late to do the same with him. Thank you.